So I'm recording now. Consider that I was taken to the psych ward in February of 2011 after my brother had barged into my room and grabbed me when I said I did not want to talk, following weeks of arguing with my parents over whether my cousins were mentally ill or not. They wanted to make an example of me and had vested interest with the white hate groups, local cops, intelligence agencies, mental health, oligarchs, and the military industrial complex because of my videos I began in 2009. Then there were early signs of them gang stalking me. Following that, I saw the Asian psychiatrist driving by my house saying something out loud. He's the psychiatrist who was at the psych ward when they took me in 2011. They were watching me and well aware of my martial arts activity, and the next time I would be taken to the psych ward would be for yelling in my room. The cops were having a little meeting in my backyard by my punching bags during that time. One was destroyed and the other was still standing, the punching bags. They were arguing while one was pointing to the punching bag that was destroyed. Anyway, my first martial arts challenge was May 2012, and the video you saw of the drugged weed was in July 2012, and I'll put that video in the description and in the comments. This was the first time I believe they began drugging the weed, which was obviously after my first martial artist challenge. 2 days after that, I make the depressed video you noticed and sent me. That was July 27th, 2012. And the next day, July 28th, I was taken to the psych ward for yelling, drugged, and high. And now for the questions. I'm going to move this computer a little closer so you can hear me better. All right. Do you see why the logical and perhaps unavoidable conclusion is that the martial arts schools have vested interest with the other group stalkers to drug me and play me out as crazy instead of addressing my key points, which is the exact reason why they are doing it in the first place?
Yes.
Do you see how I am making logical points before I go to the psych ward again in 2012 in that video you sent me, and I appeared drugged up?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little background leading up to the next question. I had to keep the window open 24 hours a day because of the smell of the grill room, and I was smoking weed. Not to mention I felt a lot of pressure from the background stressors, from keeping it a secret from my parents, that I was growing weed. The stress of that and life in general, the drugs they were covertly drugging me with, coming down off marijuana at times, the political activity I was doing, my videos, my parents bothering me about psych meds, women shunning me. I was in college at that time from 2010 to 2014, I believe. I was working, I was researching for my videos. I was hungry, spending a lot of money on weed, and my parents were kind of neglecting the food in the house, and a lot of other things. So here's the question. Do you see the reasons for all the disorganized, messy stuff hanging from the walls in the background of that video? Those things were used to block the light, and also they were a work in progress, and the wind was blowing because the window was open 24/7, knocking them out of whack as well.
Yeah, I think that's a logical explanation.
All right, so let's go to a different unrelated question that I want to get out of the way. Do you think it reflects poorly on women that I was shunned to the point that my life fell into disarray because of their choices, their judgment?
Yes, I think. Yeah, I do think it's. I do think it's a reflection on how women have made judgments. And I think your videos are trying to sort of influence who you are as an individual, and the likelihood is that people are quick to judge, and I think women have been very quick to judge you in reference to maybe your videos and your opinions.
All right, now let's address this idea of fame. In the society we live in, does fame reflect skill automatically?
No, not necessarily. One can be isolated and be the most skillful person. Popularity is just something that is almost like individuals are given the opportunity deliberately, and some aren't. So I think it's a question of political play here and media, because I think they both go hand in hand. So it would be questioned if they wanted to put somebody like you in a popular media to gain attention, which I don't think they would, because you're obviously expressing your individuality where you are. So, yeah.
When you see my martial arts demonstration, my unmatched speed, for example, I do 7 hits in 0.7 seconds in one of my latest videos, and I have very long arms. Other people strike from the trapping range, that's my boxing range, so they would have to do 14 hits covering half the distance in the same time just to match my speed. Okay? Do you see how that is a very respectable and telling demonstration of my skill?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I've seen your videos, how you've demonstrated and given people the opportunity. I think you've gone into a lot of depth as well. I just don't understand why nobody's come forward to challenge you, given how much you've offered. And it just proves a point, really.
Oh, they have come forward. I've beaten everyone. No one has scored a single point on me.
So that also proves a point. It's just that I think they're just trying to intimidate you, to make you feel like, you know, you're not able to sort of to prove a point. But yeah, no, I agree with you completely.
All right, what does it say about a martial artist who's forced to resort to hiding behind propaganda and mainstream misconceptions?
It just says that, you know, you've been made to feel that, you know, you have issues, so to speak, but I just don't think people are willing to be that open-minded. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're not allowed to be the top martial artist because there seems to be some sort of propaganda of not allowing you to have that popularity.
No, what I'm saying is, if a martial artist, instead of accepting my challenge, right, you know, instead of having the action and the honor to accept my challenge, is hiding behind the idea that, oh, you know, nobody knows who you are, when I obviously display a higher level of martial arts excellence than they do, and they're forced to resort to that instead of accepting my challenge. Doesn't that say that they're inferior? Doesn't their action of resorting to excuses scream that they cannot beat me? Especially when you consider 3 things. 1, by itself, the money is enough to entice someone to accept my challenge. In a country where most people are in debt and all the greatest martial artists are not famous, they are poor and in debt logically because they have to dedicate their time to doing martial arts. Number 2, when somebody claims they're the top martial artist and has respectable demonstrations, even with or without them, that by itself is enough to get someone to accept the challenge. And 3, all of the powerful and well thought out criticisms and insults that I have leveled at the opposition by itself is enough for them to accept and beat me if they could. So doesn't it say that they cannot beat me when they are forced to run psychops on me and make excuses instead of accept when there is no excuse not to accept?
Yes, no, I agree with you.
Did you see those videos I sent you about, the martial arts studios? One of them, the Tiger Claw, they called my phone, and they have no reason to have my number. Okay, but they called my.
Yeah, no, I saw that. No, there does seem to be some sort of propaganda, intimidation involved.
And it also shows that they're well aware of my challenge. Why else would they? You see?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Otherwise, they wouldn't be contacting you.
So between that and the other video I sent about AKA, can you see how it brings credence to my claim that dozens of martial arts schools have contacted me in kind of sneaky, sort of covert manner since I began?
Yes.
And
yeah, I completely agree. Yes.
And a trainer from AKA conceded that nobody from their gym could beat me the way that I described and wanted me to change my challenge to a more sports-like competition and a less martial arts-like one. So, yeah.
Yes.
So when all is said and done, going back to the beginning, doesn't it become very obvious that all these people have vested interest in playing me out as crazy while hiding behind corporate, big corporation derived propaganda and social norms instead of accepting my challenge or addressing my key points?
Yeah, I think it's more easier for them to intimidate you than to actually sort of challenge you. I think they've just taken the easy way out. So it's a matter of intimidating you and making you feel, well, almost like making you want to sort of give up instead of pursuing what is rightfully yours.
Exactly. I'm glad that you said that the way you said that. I've actually been using that exact phrase. What's rightfully mine. My rightful position. In this last 2 minutes, I'll give you about 1 minute to talk. Then I have to end the interview. I've been exploring the idea of honor and morality and how they go hand in hand with martial arts with you, correct?
Yes.
Can you see how it is extremely dishonorable for anyone, especially a martial artist, to do what they're doing to me?
Yeah, extremely.
That, in my opinion, and I'm sure all the top martial artists in history would agree with me as well, disqualifies them from being able to call themselves martial artists. They are now simply people who practice fighting arts. They did not adhere to the accompanying moral code. They did not maintain honor. They have fallen out of favor with God and their ancestors. So they have lost in an extremely disgraceful way. It is as if I slapped them across the face with $5,050 and said, if any of you cheaters can beat me, you're running out of time. You have till December 20th, 2016. If you do not show, no excuse will be good enough. You will have conceded my point. Can you see why I say that?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, I'll end it right there. Thanks for the interview. On the pictures on the screen, you can see that honor is pervasive in the martial arts world and in martial arts systems, including the MMA. And that how many techniques or how flashy techniques you do is not the essence of martial arts, but how you can apply them in combat. atheist guy really tell you to provoke me to go to the psych ward?
Yes.
Doesn't that seem out of the ordinary?